it's no longer news that our Nigerian doctors are traveling abroad for greener pastures. But this is becoming alarming as a story just broke on social media of how some Saudi Arabian officials were granting mass interviews to our Nigerian doctors and giving them immediate visa. According to one of the Nigerian doctors working in the UK, the situation of doctors migrating from the country is not yet bad, but it's going to get worse. What effect will this have on our health sectors? So, doctors, interestingly, remember, I think I shared a story of when my son had an emergency situation overnight. We had to rush him to the hospital nearby. They had to carry him. The doctor has relocated to Canada. He recently closed his hospital. I think I went there last year, and I saw it was padlocked. Because I went there because I prefer that hospital.
Yeah, you mentioned how they were really good.
So good.
The doctor was
And the doctor in
nice.
particular was extremely good, you know, and had a great team with him. I went there and it was all padlocked. What happened to that?
This one was
He
even
gone to
with a
Canada.
business.
Initially, the nurses were still there, but by December, they've locked it all up. So, and that's been happening. A lot of people are
I also mentioned how I went for my dental check, and the dentist that had been seeing me had relocated. His number just wasn't going through. The new dentist that was there, who was like doing part-time, assisting the other guy, said that, in the next 5 years, you'll be looking for doctors, because the only reason she was still here, and a lot of our colleagues are still here, are either processing how to go, or they are married and their spouse is like holding them down here. Now, the challenge is that our government, they cannot claim ignorance of what is going on. You know, they know what is going on. They know that doctors are leaving. The report we read said that Premium Times tried to reach out to the Medical Doctors Association and to get the numbers, that we have 80,000 registered doctors, but they don't have...
Figures are conflicting, no. NMA gave it the figure between 10,000 and 15,000. They keep changing the figures, so nobody really has exact number.
That's the thing. So we don't have the clear a number right now of the number of doctors currently working in Nigeria, the number of doctors that actually have left. And we also, I heard from one of the doctors that Nigeria is one of the cheapest places to learn medicine. You know, to study medicine, Nigeria, and this deliberately, it was done like subsidized. Let's make it cheap. Let's have more doctors. Let's make it affordable, because you're going to spend more years in the university. You shouldn't have to pay so much money. So if you're subsidizing education and you're making investments in thousands of people, you're not reaping that investment. Is that not like we're wasting money everywhere?
The statistic that we read was that about 1,000 people read back in 2000, and I think 14 did the medical exam in Nigeria, but by 2017 it was about 236 people alone. So people are just not bothering taking the exams anymore. I'd rather go and take it abroad.
That's another angle to it. I hate to sound very unpatriotic, but I always say it. I've had this experience living with them. I've seen the way they are treated, unmotivated. There's nothing to justify the way they are treated. And to correct Tokwe, it costs a lot of money to study medicine in Nigeria. It's not subsidized, as they say. It costs them a lot of money.
As compared to other countries.
Yeah, but these are Nigerians.
They have to stay longer in school. They have to stay, you know, to spend a lot of more money doing, and to specialize is even more expensive. You then graduate, and you are giving. You have, you know, we have a lot of demand on the health sector. You have a large crowd of people, less doctors than can handle. They're overworked, overwhelmed, less motivated, and when they go on strike, see the way government approaches them.
Yeah. They will say,
like,
it will be sacked, no work, no pay.
Before you know, they'll bring that oath that they take, they do all sorts of things. I think government is the one not sincere on their part here.
You know what?
Because if you really are concerned about your health sector, you must motivate the people that are working with them. We complain a lot of times about the way the medical personnel treat us.
I empathize with doctors. But this brain drain is not just the doctors. Is, you know, and we've had brain drain for so long. Even when I was in school, in primary school, you know, we would study brain drain. Who remembers that song? Do you understand? So, exactly. So this is something that has been ongoing forever in Nigeria. And the problem is, and I think the only singular problem that Nigeria has, is this corruption. Where are the hospitals? The hospitals are dilapidated. The equipment obsolete. Do you understand? Salaries are not paid on time. Doctors are going on strike to be paid or not being paid enough. It's not just doctors, it's teachers, it's nurses, it's pharmacists,
it's also,
everyone.
It's also about planning. You see, that I think we go back to what's our vision as a country. That's why one of the richest men in Nigeria came to Nigeria, the richest men in the world, came to Nigeria to say that, yes, you're building infrastructures, but you're not investing in human capital, which is health and education. There's no plan. You have to do that. You have to do them simultaneously. You can't just say you're building roads and you're investing in power and not investing in health.
What happened in India?
Like we use our mouths to say that we want to make this cup blue. But the money, instead of spending money making this cup blue, we paint the table blue. So you're wondering, hello, you said you want to make the cup blue. You know what you should do. You say you will do it, but where is your money going into?
So
I can't blame the doctors.
You
consider what's best for yourself.
People have lost hope in the Nigerian government. We have lost hope. You know, if we have faith and you have belief, even if it's not working now, oh, I can see the steps that, as you said, planning. I can see the steps that government is taking. I can see the steps that government is taking to do things better. So they have faith, they have hope, but there's loss of hope. And when there's no hope, you check out.
Of course. There was a deliberate move by government to change the narrative of their health sector. And they did. Now everybody's going there. Saudi Arabia recently, truly, I'm aware of 2 of my doctors who left me in the hospital and went to Saudi Arabia. They're doing very excellently well. Another country in Africa here is giving them the same motivation they're getting in South Africa. Namibia is also taking our doctors from Nigeria. Deliberately trying to revamp their health sector, saying, okay, the best of doctors are from Nigeria. Okay, let's get Nigerian doctors. Let's give them what they want. So sadly, our governments do not even have a clue what a vision is. So talk about having a vision.
And now, Mariah, we have educational fair where schools from the UK and abroad, they will come and shop for our students. And then they will take our brightest minds. They will take them and we will be paying a lot of money to get them the best education. Same thing with doctors. We will pay for the doctors will graduate here. Then some people will come as agents from Saudi Arabia. They will come from Namibia and shop for our best doctors and take them there. And our senators are not catching up. There are no laws to protect
over there for
Let me talk about India, Mariah, quickly. India deliberately had a 20-year plan to become medical tourism country. They are making crazy money from medical tourism. They made a plan. They empowered people. India empowered educational sector so that when you have India doctors or India lawyers, India people go abroad, the money is sent back to their country. Okay, we have
let me hinge on that a bit, because I know that we have this Indian facility that is world class in Ilupeju, that they have, I think, about 3 branches, one on the island, one in Festac. And people go there. I mean, I remember when I was looking for, when my mother wanted to take a test, I told her to go to that place to get her test done. They have a world class facility. Now, we are running off. They are coming in to invest in medical. So is the solution that we're seeing that, okay, yes, we cannot train Nigerians. Maybe we should just, maybe the investors are coming in, doctors are coming in to invest in our country.
That's different.
Unfortunately.
But also businessmen coming here to do business. And we always give them all the motivation they need. Tax waivers, everything.
Give them free land.
Everything they give them. So they make business easy for them. Imagine a Nigerian man trying to open a hospital here.
Thank you. But remember,
before you even get the equipment in place, you're being investigated by EFCC, you're flagging you down, things are happening.
What happened to that bill that they were trying to pass where they're saying that doctors cannot work in federal government hospitals as well as private? Look at that.
Of course, thank God we have a doctor in the house. We're going to take a break and come back. We'll ask him when he's leaving. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're talking about cholera. The issue of cholera cannot be overemphasized as it concerns our lives. The World Health Organization, WHO, estimates that during any cholera epidemic, approximately 0.2 to 1% of the local population will contract the disease, and it occurred more during the rainy season. As we approach the rainy season right now, how can we control the outbreak of cholera? Joining us on the show is a public health practitioner, Dr. Tuyi Mebawandu. Welcome to the show.
My pleasure.
I know our plan is to talk about cholera, but I want you to take us back. I want to take you back first to the discussion we're talking about doctors' flight out of the country. Then we'll discuss cholera a bit later. In your view, why are doctors? Why are you still here? Let me just ask. Why are you still here?
I mean, honestly, 2001, I was in US and I had reason. I wanted to actually stay back, but along the line, the visas for my wife and children were not processed, and I cannot take any other alternative.
Right.
So I lost that time, and then I had to go elsewhere. So, but for that, I probably had gone out. But sometimes again, I remember having to confront the question with the wife of my uncle, who is an American. Said, why don't you stay here? I said that, wait a minute, my country needed, at least still needs more doctors than you actually, quite need. Then I was younger, then I had a lot of hope in the country. I see the country, you know, transiting and moving away from its challenges and be able to get some tractions in terms of positivity. But it is quite tough and difficult now. I'm choosing my word, quite tough, because there are two factors. There's a pull, there's a push factor. You know, the push factor is being accentuated daily. You know, and then the pull factor is just there. Except that maybe for America now, the pull factor there might be the political situation happening there. But apart from that place, there's
many other countries.
Yeah. There's no country, I can't remember a country in the world that is sufficient, even India, in health workers. Because at every time, you train and retain skill.
Right.
And for us, we've shouted horse, trying to discuss, trying to see what is possible in terms of the health. How do you think of a country with that structurally setting your health system?
So let me ask you a personal question. Do you have any regrets of not going?
Obviously, I do. And again, the point is this, even for me, I'm really thinking of exiting medical practice.
Wow.
That is how
Serious.
That's how tough. If I'm thinking of exiting medical practice, what else can I do? When you see a doctor who is properly trained, you know, I have gone, I'm in 3 continents to do training, to further training, okay? And then, I now sat down, I look at it, I came back. I try to push my, you know, my own knowledge this way, and since they're not happening. I try to push it this way, they're not happening. You know, but again, you have to sit down and wonder, what else am I doing? Should I continue? But we'll persevere, and we hope that one day something will happen.
So, because we cannot just lament, because we can't just say this and just leave it hanging, what do you think would have been the right response that would have pulled you back here? Instead of that force that is pushing you, what do you think the response would have been that would make you feel like, let me still stay here?
What can the government do, right, to keep
what can they do to keep you here?
Again, you see, you must be able to make medical practice interesting. It's not just about wages or provision of basic support. It also has to do with proper training, update training, you know, and for you to have what we call the satisfaction that you are a doctor and then you are not constrained as a doctor. Okay? Now, if you look at, because let's face it, government cannot employ all doctors trained in this nation. But there must be, what government has been neglecting substantially is a huge pool, let me use the word huge pool, of doctors even in private settings that they are not harnessing into the health system. It's like they're running parallel health services. The government looks at it like this, and then they say, okay, the private people are just there, you know. That is what is happening. There's no coordination, we're not harnessing, you know, we're not looking at it, for instance, that
we can work as partners together.
Yes, that you are hanging out somewhere, maybe in a corner in Ikorodu, and then we're not having much of these medical services. There's a private doctor there. Can you help us reduce the incidence of hypertension in this area? What are you going to do? These are the things you should do. This is how we're going to help you. And then, lo and behold, in that community, the incidence of hypertension will be reduced. Maybe even infectious disease will be reduced, and the private doctor will be compensated. And then we must be able to have that kind of mix that will encourage those people to stay behind. And then for them, you say, okay, if you want to keep you next year, you must do update training in this area. But when you see that, even when government needs to engage you, if you're a private doctor, it is actually a quarrel. They are looking for how to frustrate.
You know, okay, sir. I was just sorry, please. I don't know, Tokwe, do you remember what state that I think the doctors were going on strike?
Edo State.
And then the governor was like, okay, if you do go, you know, we'll look for people to take your place.
We'll have to
do you think that government, I know you're saying maybe government does not work in, but do you think sometimes that maybe the doctors are not
patriotic enough?
Is it patriotic or not empathetic enough, not considering that the country that they come from is not just them that is not, you know, it's not just the health sector that is not working. There's a whole system that is not working. And maybe we need a little more understanding from these doctors, you know, patience. We need a little more patriotism, because about health is not just, you know, just the government. It's everybody is affected. Do you understand? So if the doctor goes on strike, unfortunately, it might not be the person you're trying to fight against that, you know, has the problem. It's the regular man on the street who comes to the hospital and does not get doctor. So, you know, is the doctor
I see
a bit...
your point. It's actually a dilemma for a doctor who's been trained at a level of compassion, you know, to now look and be seeing somebody suffering.
Yeah.
It's a painful thing. Honestly, it's a painful thing. Those doctors are still hanging around. That is what is keeping them, that I cannot stay and allow people to suffer while, you know, I'm demanding for this. But there must be, you know, a meeting point, okay? You know, understand how painful it is. There must be a meeting point. The government must be able to create that environment, because without health, everything will turn upside down. Without health, you can't even get wealth. You know, the health is a key component of development. Whether you are talking about strategic development goals, which MDG, we did that became strategic development goals. Yeah. Whether you are talking anything at all, mentioning the countries, ease of doing business.
Healthy people.
It's health. Health is key. Then what are you doing? Especially at the level of primary health. But you see, I'll say this. I'm really impressed. You know, I don't commonly give praises to people. I'm really impressed with what is happening at the level of the primary health board in Lagos State. Okay? You know, for the first time, they said, wait a minute, we're going to the riverine communities in the whole of Lagos, which is huge, neglected, and where most of these negative health indices are domiciled. And they say, we're going to this place. Nobody has done it. And I'm sure, even from what I'm getting, I'm sure that something significant will happen. And that is where it should be. Yes, health could be, we could perceive it as building big hospitals with a lot of multi-specialists. But the majority of the negative indices happen at this locality where they're just neglected, they don't get water to drink.
Issues of... I was going to raise the defense for the government in the sense that, you know, I feel that medical doctors or medical personnel over the years were the ones who compromised the situation and made it bad. You know, you go to hospitals where government donates kidney or the dialysis machine, and you find the MD of the hospital, public hospital, now diverting to a private hospital close by, where he must have moved the ones donated by government. You see, we have had reports of all this over the time.
Oh, no, that's difficult. Very difficult to do. No,
doesn't use the powers they have, like we do in the NBA, to check within them this kind of thing. So you see government over time just thinking, let these people go. I think we've got somehow in the past contributed to what is happening.
It's very difficult to move a pin from government setting. I worked with government initially for 20 years. You know, I worked with government for 20 years. It's, you know, and I work across the state. So it's very difficult to pick a pin from government and take out. Right. It's very difficult.
We have to round up, because I mean, sorry I had to hinge on this, because this is a major serious issue. This is serious. We couldn't just let it slide like that. Very quickly, in 10 seconds, in your view, I mean, you said a lot of things. What can we do to encourage those who have gone to come back? What is that factor we're going to use them to come back? Now,
you were mentioning India. What is happening in India is what we call reverse brain drain, okay? Where people who had gone out are coming back to come and enhance the health system in India. Now, why did that happen in India? First and foremost, infrastructure, okay? Now, I want to come back. I cannot get light. There's no water supply. The roads are bad. Okay, I cannot even be assured of security. Okay, now I want to do business. I cannot even get access to fund. Okay, if I have to really attempt to do anything, even the quality of drug I'm getting, some drugs I cannot even get. Okay, these are.
There must be sincerity in the part of the government.
Infrastructure. Government needs to really focus on infrastructure and be doing that.
Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll focus on cholera, because that's why we invited you. Because we stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So there was a recent outbreak of cholera. I would like to ask our doctor, how can we prevent cholera? I know cleanliness is key, but you talked earlier about the health sectors, the local health sectors. What can we do to help to ensure cleanliness amongst them?
I'm sorry, before he goes, please, how is it that in 2018 we're still getting cholera outbreak in 2018?
That's the fundamental question, because you see, for close to 200 years, when cholera was first isolated, the vibrio, the germ that caused cholera was first isolated, it's been given quite a challenge to even the medical profession. Despite the advances we've had in different areas, cholera has been providing quite a challenge. And normally, this is a disease that, with simple hygiene, you should be able to prevent. Now, if you look at it from around that 1817 or about 200 years now, the world has had 7 pandemics. Pandemics means that disease cuts across country. The epidemic jumps from one country, gets to another country. 7 pandemics, 6 of them in Europe and America. Then about 200,000 deaths. That was what happened. The recent pandemic we are witnessing now came from Indonesia, somewhere in Indonesia, and around 1961. We're still on it. We've not been able to conquer cholera, especially in Southeast Asia. I'm talking about India and Sub-Saharan Africa. Now, what are the dynamics that is pushing cholera? Simple thing. One, there's environmental factor, there's host factor. This is where the largest number of malnourished people, apart from India, reside. This is the country. Secondly, the number of open defecation. Now, Nigeria is number 2 after India in open defecation, as high as 30%.
All our place there.
You understand? As high as 30%. Because what are we talking about? All you need to do, because cholera is fecal oral, from feces to your mouth. From feces to mouth. That is how it's transmitted. 2 key ways to get it, either from water or from food. That is the 2. So it's no brainer. It's nothing you need to really worry about. That is as simple as that. Now, so how come that Nigeria is having the highest number of open defecation after India? Okay?
Poor planning. And
we're not doing anything about it. Now, how come that our water sanitation and hygiene is one of the poorest, and still we're not doing about it. If you look at water availability, even in your area, how many times do you get water? As far back as 1854, London has running tap water. They had their own episode of outbreak of cholera.
Yeah, so they planned.
So John Snow, it was even somebody that said them they should change the handle of the tap on Broad Street in London to curtail that epidemic. It's even, look, 200 years ago, and here we cannot even provide water.
You see, I'm just tired.
So no, don't be tired. Don't be tired. Don't be tired.
Let's protect ourselves. How do we protect ourselves?
Now, if we are looking at the broad perspective in terms of providing water, in terms of providing sanitation, that's huge. It requires funding, it requires expertise, it requires maintenance. So at our level,
what can we do?
It's at the community level we have to do.
Exactly. Because you said open defecation, and I said along our way, it is we contributing this. We deliberately go publicly and defecate to near the person selling fruits. The person selling fruit is by the Sokeway, and we buy all this. Are we not, can't we change our lifestyle and, try to start to protect ourselves before government comes to our aid?
Yes. Again, first and foremost, is look at simple hand wash. Okay? Now, even at the secondary school level, we can institute simple hand wash. So many companies are selling soap. You understand? So many Nigerians are trying to make soap. That's business for them. So all we need, what do you need for simple hand wash?
Soap and water.
In strategic places in those schools, in those public schools, go and wash your hand. Even if you air dry it, you've prevented a lot of infection.
We don't have so much time, but yes, we know to prevent cholera, we have to find a way to have clean areas. But what are the symptoms you see a child that you know that, okay, I have to rush this child to the hospital? What, as a parent, what should you look out for?
Cholera is an infection, it's an intestinal infection caused by bacteria called Vibrio cholerae. The key thing is stooling. It's copious, what we call bulky, a lot of watery stool, and typically the stool is like a rice water. When you soak rice, cloudy, and it's a lot, the outpour of that fluid. The child may not run fever. Okay, usually the incubation period is about 24 to 48 hours, 1 or 2 days after injection. In large number of people, because of if they are immune, they will not show sign. But those ones that are social, they start, between 48 hours, they start showing sign. And it could be in form of cramps, abdominal cramps, and
can it be fatal?
And copious.
Cool. Very.
Loss of water and nutrients from the body is fatal, especially for children. It leads to loss of water, which we call dehydration. It changes the acid-base balance of the body, and before you know it, the person is gone. It's a fast killer. And we can remember in Nigeria in 1973 how many people died of cholera. You remember Haiti, what happened to Haiti when the UN people brought cholera from somewhere in India to them, and they lost more than 5,000
So what's the
people.
immediate step they can take? You see your child is losing water. What do you do immediately?
Every parent must learn how to prepare
oral
rehydration solution. Okay, so you need to give the child that water to replace the water. Sometimes they vomit, don't be discouraged. Give this, and then you get to hospital as soon as possible so that they can assess and treat the person.
What of the use of zinc tablets?
Yeah, zinc tablet, there's a general diarrhea, okay, because the core thing you need to do at that initial stage is to rehydrate. After that, you can give the zinc tablet. But of course, when you are faced with the epidemic of cholera, there are vaccines that can be given.
Unfortunately, we can't take anymore. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure having you.
Always a pleasure.
All right, that's all we can take. Don't forget, tomorrow is our live audience Wednesday. Please come early. We can only take about 30 people. Come early so you can be part of the show. Have a fabulous day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.